You've seen samples of his work on social media. The information he shares with you is extremely valuable. He was a student of Malcolm X's closest lieutenants and followers, many of whom have passed away. But before they joined our ancestors, they shared with underground guerrilla filmmaker Omar Shabazz confidential information the public now needs to know. The new release, Brother Malcolm X, Diamond Among Men, will set the record straight like never before.
They would never let us get into a physical fight with white people. Never. It was always that promise that the mother plane is coming.
This filmmaker's critical data you can rely on, trust, and even bank on. Step into the very first apartment complex that Malcolm X lived in with John Ali, the one they both occupied before the more famous house that was firebombed. Like always, Shabazz Productions will not release a film until the information is right and exact. This film, that took over 4 years to complete, was one of the toughest films to edit. There's so much important explosive information in this film, many will not be able to handle it.
They told us that if a brother went to jail, or even a brother got sick, that the Nation of Islam would take care of the family until he got back on his feet. That's what they call it then, back on your feet. They didn't say till you got well, they said back on your feet.
Brother Malcolm X, Diamond Among Men, 6 DVDs, 23 hours of serious information. This film could cause medical issues with those who have weak immune systems. For those who have any medical issues, please have medical personnel on standby while viewing this film. See the location where Malcolm X was funeralized at.
Here, at this final hour.
Now, a garbage-strewn, rat-infested pit. Go into the pit and see the exact spot where Brother Malcolm's body lay in state and where key figures sat in attendance.
And our ignorance sometimes makes us think that we're on the right path, and in reality, we're wrong.
Travel to the South Bronx of New York City, where hip-hop was created by FBAs, where its tentacles spread throughout the world under the direct influence of Malcolm X. But there was a detour from the original unifying message that called for anti-drug use and stepped-up violence that is now prevalent in black communities. Learn about this new creative genre of music that was once embraced with pride. Learn from whites who understood why Malcolm X was an important person to the world.
Most white people were afraid of Malcolm X. He was calling white people devils. Were you offended by that?
No, because especially when he was talked about the white power structure. But in general, white are devils. Look at the racists right now in present-day society. They stormed the White House.
This film is an encyclopedia of information. After viewing this film, there'll be no more excuses, no more free passes, cheat sheets, shortcuts, workarounds. The information will be straight to the point.
I think once we travel, throughout New York City and get to all these venues that Middleton Malcolm was at, that's going to have an impact on what Brother Omar is trying to do.
Go inside the Manhattan Center Ballroom, where Malcolm made the chickens coming home to roost statement. The very last place Malcolm was allowed to speak as a Nation of Islam minister. And then he would be given a pink slip by the Nation of Islam as instructed by the white power structure. Be part of the investigation on why homicide victims keep turning up in front of the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Education and Memorial Center.
And that's 165th Street, right across from the Malcolm X Center at 3940 Broadway.
Drugs, murders, a plague of crime that's engulfing every major city in the United States. The direct result of the elimination of true black leaders who tried to make a difference. But is it too late? Can mankind be saved? Where are the diamonds among men? Learn for the very first time who the associate was who set Muhammad's Mosque number 7 on fire. You ready, Joe? Okay.
Go ahead, Shabazz.
If everything being said about the Nation of Islam's role in Malcolm's assassination is true, and I'm talking about the Nation of Islam of 1965, I want to specify that. I'm talking about the Nation of Islam of 1965. I'm not talking about the current group of brothers out here. Those are some good brothers. They weren't around in 1965. If what's being said about the Nation of Islam's role in Malcolm's murder, that would make the Nation of Islam of 1965 a Uncle Tom black sellout organization. I hate to say that. I hate to think it. But that's what's on the table right now, and that's what the fuck we have to deal with. It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a close call between genius and crazy. There's a short path between culture and confusion. When this documentary hits the streets, there'll be no more psychological manipulating, no more doubting about what really happened. There'll be no more gaslighting.
Because what he stressed was not violence. What he stressed was self-defense. Yes, if I defend myself, there will be violence, but it's self-defense. Sometimes you have to use violence to make peace.
My own personal belief, and this is, again, my own personal belief, I think Malcolm was the greatest truth teller that's ever walked the earth. And that's why, that's one of the many reasons why I'm attracted to.
You can't imagine the nation turning their back on you, especially if you did everything that you're supposed to do.
Are we back on?
Okay, Omar, we're back on.
This documentary is going to cover everything. You want receipts? You're going to need a large box to put them in.